Everyone, I'm Jenny Parker with NASC. Welcome to today's NASC Preferred Supplier webinar, Move Fully to Live Freely, Joint Health Innovation Serving the Longevity Market. Today's webinar will be presented by Ingredia Health. It's now my pleasure to introduce today's speakers. Dr. Joanna Morrow joined Ingredia Health as Clinical Trials Specialist 5 years ago. In charge of designing preclinical and clinical studies, she also supports the business development, regulatory, and IP teams. Dr. Morrow holds a Master of Biosciences from ENS Lyon, followed by a PhD from Agro Paris Tech. And Ms. Cecile Dacuna joined Ingredia's Global Marketing Department in 2020 after 7 years in veterinary pharma and 9 years in consumer goods. As a global brand manager, she is in charge of marketing the bioactive ingredients range, and Cecile has a master's degree in management and international marketing. And it is now my pleasure to turn the webinar over to Joanna and Cecile.
Thank you, Jenny. We will talk today about Zelflex, our brand new bioactive ingredient for renewed flexibility for your pets. So first, the usual disclaimer. This presentation includes examples of ingredient-level research and claims. So the presentation is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be interpreted as allowable labeling or marketing claims. Some claims shown may not be permitted on finished animal health supplement labels, as any claims that imply the treatment, cure, medication, or prevention of disease would cause a finished product to be regulated as a drug under FD&C Act number 201. So the agenda for today, we will first have a little look into pet parents' dedication on the rise, lifespan of our pets, the next frontier of pet health. We will then see which market and which pets to address, how to support joint health, what is Zelflex, the scientific evidence behind it, and the application and regulation data. So first of all, more and more dedicated pet parents worldwide. It's not big news to you, but with more than 1 billion pets owned around the world, the ownership is known to be on the rise, as shown by Mars and Ipsos Global Pet Parent Study. 45% of global pet parents consider their pets as family members and increasingly even as their own kids. And pets are the most important thing in their life for 30 to 45% of them worldwide. So it's 45% for Gen Z, 40% for millennials, and 29, almost 30% for baby boomers. Baby boomers are the ones that are more likely to have older pets, often over 7 years old. And baby boomers also have the most purchasing power. And as a consequence, senior pets increasingly benefit from greater care, helped by the emergence of concrete benefits in many fields, but in joint health, cognitive support, or many other fields around healthy aging. Lifespan is the next frontier of pet health. You may have seen in the press, in the veterinary press, that lifespan is a hot topic for more medical research. There's an American biotech called Loyal that should launch in 2026. There's a FDA authorization pending. Their drug LOY002, which acts on several metabolism dysregulations due to age and should help our dogs live longer. And it's aimed at first at dogs over 10-year-old and 14 pounds, but it should be followed by LOY001 and 003 for larger breeds. And this exciting solution was presented during Health Symposium on Strong Science Long Lives in last October in Phoenix. And there's another drug called rapamycin, which is currently tested to improve dogs' lifespan. Trials are conducted by the Dog Aging Project, which received 36 million euros from National Institute on Aging, a branch of National Institutes of Health. So the business of senior pets' well-being is just starting, and helping them to age well is just the beginning of a new business. Yeah. Mobility. So yes, it's a very classic challenge for older pets in dogs and cats. Aging comes with normal joint wear and tear, sometimes associated with muscle loss. So the muscles don't compensate for the weakening of the joints. And joint issues can result in mobility difficulties with signs of more serious concerns. You have 20 to 37% of dogs over 1 year old that are affected by osteoarthritis. And 40% of all cats have clinical signs of osteoarthritis, even though they are more prone to hiding signs. You have 1 in 2 pet parents around the world that are actively looking for joint and bone solutions. It's like 60% of US dog owners and 52% of cat owners, but you will find pretty much the same level in Europe and Asia, a bit under that in Europe and Asia, but quite comparable. So which pets are more prone to joint health concerns? Different factors, they can increase the risk for dogs and cats to develop joint issues. First is age, of course. You have a poor association of natural wear and tear of the joints, plus weaker bones and weaker muscles. So they don't compensate for the weak joints. Overweight, obese dogs are like 3.5 times more at risk. Weight loss is highly recommended for better joint health. Larger giant breeds, they tend to be more concerned. Or dogs with intensive sports practice like sledding, agility, ring, they may deal with premature joint wear. And you have, of course, other factors such as genetics and injuries that can also play an aggravating role. So how do you manage age-related mobility issues? First, diagnosis. Pet parents may have some difficulties understanding they are facing mobility issues. So when you see your dog or cat have a stiffness, lameness, limping, difficulty getting up, some kind of lethargy, less running, less jumping, less playing, they experience discomfort when they're petted or touched, which can make them in turn irritable or make them change their behavior. They are less able to groom themselves. Then you may have signs of joint concerns and difficulty in mobility. So how do you take care of these joint concerns? Well, you can control the discomfort with physiotherapy with the help of your vets. So joint massage, laser, electrostimulation. Weight management is helpful. The lesser the weight on the joint, the better. Improving the quality of life by improving the direct animals environment. So you will lower their beds or adapt their direct environment to make it more comfortable for their difficulties. And then you have supplementation with chondro protector products. And this is where I will end it over to Joanna to explain about Xelflex today.
Thank you, Cécile. So yes, what is Xelflex, our new ingredient? So Xelflex is an ingredient of natural origin. It's a casein hydrolysate derived from cow's milk and produced in France. And several studies were showing that consumption of dairy products was associated with healthy aging. So we are working on these topics. And we developed Xelflex that has been preclinically and clinically tested. And Xelflex can support joint comfort in pets. So firstly, we wanted to validate its anti-inflammatory effect with an in vivo model. We studied the effects of Xelflex in an arthritic MBSA mice model, developing an edema in knee joints. We measured the evolution of edema formation between control, so without supplementation, and Xelflex group after 21 days of supplementation. And at the end of this supplementation, we observed that Xelflex induces a significant reduction of the size of edema compared to mice receiving vehicle. And this study confirmed that Xelflex has an anti-inflammatory effect, allowing to reduce joint inflammation in these arthritic mice. More recently, we performed a clinical study in dogs. 52 dogs suffering from joint disorders are included and received Xelflex or placebo for 60 days. The supplement was administered in capsule form, and joint disorders were evaluated using the Liverpool Osteoarthritis in Dogs questionnaire, the LOD questionnaire. And the dosage of Xelflex used was 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. So here you have the result. The results have shown that with Zelflex, the load score is significantly decreased after 2 months of supplementation compared to the placebo group, and a reduction by approximately 40%. So with Zelflex, dogs moved into the mild symptom category, whereas with the placebo group, they still experienced moderate symptoms. Up to a 5-point reduction in the load score for pain and joint discomfort, indicating a real improvement in quality of life of these dogs after Zelflex supplementation. So we concluded in this study that Zelflex helps maintain joint function and mobility. In terms of application and regulation, so the effective dosage for dogs is 6 milligrams per kilogram per body weight, and in cats, 12 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. We have a good palatability and a good digestibility with Zelflex, no side effect, no digestive trouble. Zelflex is on FIT catalog as milk protein powder, and we have a clean label. So in the US, it's dried hydrolyzed casein, and in Europe and Asia, milk protein hydrolysate. So we know that osteoarthritis is a combination of multiple dysregulation. So to address them all, you can combine Zelflex with other ingredients to have a multifunctional product. So for example, in osteoarthritis, you have inflammation, which promotes cartilage breakdown and induce pain. So to treat it, you can use Zelflex. To act on the cartilage breakdown, you can combine with chondroitin or glucosamine. In osteoarthritis, synovial liquid loses its lubricating properties, so you can use hyaluronic acid or omega-3 to improve it. When your joint is destabilized, you can strengthen it by working on muscle mass. So by increasing muscle mass, you will strengthen the joints. Thus, we suggest to add protein in your products. And the last parameter to consider is the bone health. So if you want to develop a global product to improve osteoarticular health, you can use Osteum CPP, a casein phosphopeptide, calcium, or vitamin D to strengthen this bone density. And we also know that the overweight can have an impact on these joints and on joint health globally. So to manage weight and to improve this joint health, you can also use our bioactive peptidase that can act on the reduction of body weight. So to conclude on Zelflex, it's a unique, natural, and innovative bioactive ingredient to help reduce joint discomfort. We have no side effects, no digestive effect with Zelflex. That is a very important point. And clinically proven efficacy to support joint mobility and flexibility. Thank you. And if you have any question, don't hesitate.
I don't have any, well, okay, here we have a question. The first question is there lactose in Zelflex?
Yes, so we don't have, the lactose concentration in Zelflex is very low. It's inferior to 1%. So very, very small amounts that are very, very well tolerated without any problems by dogs or cats.
Okay. Next question. What is the mechanism of action for Zelflex?
So Zelflex has an anti-inflammatory effect. So for now, we know that Zelflex can act on different cytokines. It decreases the secretion of some cytokines as interleukin-1 beta, TNF-alpha, and by reducing this the secretion of these cytokines, Zelflex has an anti-inflammatory effect.
All right. Next question. I know you sort of mentioned this, but are there any side effects? Can you talk about that a little more, please?
Yes. So we don't have any side effects with Lactium. So we evaluated its toxicity in study, in acute and in chronic study with a rats model showing that we don't have any toxicity with Xelflex. And in our clinical study, we don't observe side effects. So no side effect, no digestive issue or other side effects. So Xelflex is very safe to use in chronic supplementation.
Thank you. Next question. Are there some ingredient combinations that should be avoided when using Xelflex?
Yeah, not particularly. So we have not identified any contraindication. So Xelflex has an anti-inflammatory and anti-pain properties. So it's better to associate with ingredients with other properties to have a multifunctional product. For example, you can combine with chondroitin or glucosamine that have an action on cartilage, or omega-3 an action on synovial liquid. You can also combine with omega-3 because the anti-inflammatory effect of omega-3 and Xelflex is different with different pathway. So no contraindication for Xelflex.
All right. Next question. You mentioned omega-3 for joint health. What type of omega-3, DHA or EPA?
So it depends, but for the moment, we suggest to use DHA.
DHA, okay. Next question. Can you reiterate the test population that you used, canine versus feline?
So can you just repeat, please?
Well, there actually are two questions that I think maybe kind of come together. One question says, was the clinical study only conducted on mice or also in dogs and cats?
Okay.
And then another question asks about the test population that you use, canine versus feline.
Yeah, okay. So we performed our clinical study on dogs. So we have, for this ingredient, we have a cellular model we used first after we evaluated its efficacy in an in vivo model of arthritic mice. And more recently, we performed a clinical study on dogs. So for the moment, the effective parameters that we have are on dogs and not on cats. But yes, for sure, Xelflex can be used in dogs, but also in cats.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How can different hydrolyzed casein ingredients be differentiated on labels if more than one are included? And that may be a compliance team question. That may be a reach out to an ASC question, but if you can answer too, that would be great.
My guess would be you would need branding. What do you think, Joanna?
Yes, I think
you would need to use the brand because there's nothing that looks more like milk protein hydrolysate than other milk protein hydrolysate in the labeling list. So if you combine two of them, I guess you need to use the branding, the brand name.
Yes, to differentiate.
So use the Xelflex name. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I can just add something, so Xelflex is a casein hydrolysate, but we used a specific protocol for the hydrolysis. So we have a specific pool of peptide inside this hydrolysate, allowing these anti-inflammatory properties of Xelflex, but it's very different that just use a casein.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a HPLC profile, specific HPLC profile. Yeah.
So if somebody has some specific questions down that line, can they reach out to you for some guidance on that?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Next question. Does Xelflex help other ingredients bioavailability, such as hyaluronic acid, chondroitin, or glucosamine?
So we know that Xelflex is a casein hydrolysate. The absorption is quite is quite good. So the bioavailability of Xelflex is good to have its effect. We don't measure it, so I can compare with the bioavailability of glucosamine on other ingredients. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't have the comparison.
Someone is asking, can you give an overview of how you make your hydrolysates? Am I saying that word right? Hydrolytes?
Yes, so the process is confidential, so I can't.
Not so much.
Yeah, but we use casein, and we apply a specific type of hydrolysis to obtain a specific amount of different peptide that are an anti-inflammatory effect. But it's
Yeah, the
confidential.
enzymes are confidential. The time and temperature conditions are confidential too. That's the heart of the process. Yeah.
You can't give away your secrets. We understand. Is your ingredient tolerant to heat and other processing?
Yeah, so for the moment, it's difficult to answer because the studies are ongoing. But for now, what we know is that it's a casein hydrolysate. So we suppose that it's okay for heat treatment, but we are working on that to be sure that it is the case. So we will have this answer in some months.
Okay, perfect. Someone is asking why the dosage is double in cats versus dogs.
Yes. So for cats, we use the FDA abacus to know the effective dosage, and we calculate this from the mice dose. So the mice dose, the effective mice dose is 50 milligram per kilogram, and when we use the FDA abacus, it's 12 for cats.
Okay, and it looks like we just have one question left, and that is, do you have a copy of the white paper or final study results that you could share either here or via email?
So this study is not published, but if you want more detail, you can contact us by email. I don't know. I think you have maybe in the description of the webinar how contact. So you can contact Ingredia, and we can share some document with you if you have interested. Yeah.
If you wanted to put your emails into the chat, that would be great, and then folks can grab them that way as well.
Okay.
And that looks like all the questions that we have. Okay, so on behalf of NASC, I would like to thank everybody for joining us today and for participating in the webinar. And also thank you to Joanna and Cecile for sharing their presentation. And once again, today's webinar will be archived on the NASC website at nasc.cc/webinars. And please feel free to share this presentation with anyone inside your organization that you think could benefit from this knowledge. We appreciate you all and hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.